Good morning, students. My name is Mantesh Lamani and I am a science teacher. And today in this class we are learning something new about one of the scientific concepts called as digestive systems. So before going towards the concept, I would like to ask some of the questions. Okay. So what do you think what happens to the food after you eat it? Have you ever thought of this thing? What happens to the food after we eat the food? And why do you feel hungry? And how you think that eating can helps your body? And why human beings are having so many different size and so many different shapes of teeth? So have you wondered about this thing? So today we'll get answer for all these questions. So we'll start today's concepts called as human digestive systems. So human digestive system starts with the buccal cavity. It will start with our mouth, buccal cavity. So what all things are there inside the mouth? Yes, teeth is there, tongue is there, saliva is there. So let's see how it will help in digestion. So as you already know, we are having so many different types of teeth in our mouth. So we are having canine teeth, incisor teeth, molar teeth and premolar teeth. Why we are having different size and different shape of a teeth? Why can't all teeth are in a same size or a same shape? So there is a particular reason behind it. So we are having 8 incisor teeth. So these 8 incisor teeth helps in cutting or slicing of a food. Then we have 4 canine teeth. These 4 canine teeth helps us to hold the food at one place. It will helps to hold the food at one place. Then we are having 8 molars tooth, which will helps us to chew the food. Then we are having 12 premolar teeth. So at the age of adult, when you reach the adult stage, you will attain all these 32 teeth. But before adult stage, you may lack some of the premolar teeth. Okay, so these teeth will help in chewing of a food. It will make the food particles smaller. We are consuming a solid organic matter. So these teeth helps us to break those food particles into smaller particles. Then inside tongue is there. Tongue is there. Tongue will helps us to. Tongue is having a receptors called as gustatory receptors. Those receptors will make us feel the taste. We can taste the food with the help of those gustatory receptors which are present on the surface of a tongue. Okay. Then below the tongue, this side and below the jawline, nearby jawline, we are having salivary glands which produce a saliva. Now what is the role of a saliva in a digestion process? Okay, saliva is a watery content. It is a fluid material which will be combined with our food particles and it will provide one wet medium for the food so that the food can easily slip inside the esophagus to reach the stomach. And saliva is having one enzyme. Saliva is having one enzyme called as salivary amylase. Salivary amylase. So that salivary amylase, what is the role of salivary amylase? So salivary amylase helps in breakdown of carbohydrates into glucose. Carbohydrate is a complex form. It is made up of so many molecules of glucose. But this amylase enzyme which is present in our saliva, that enzyme helps us to break down the carbohydrates into smaller glucose molecules. So these things happening inside the mouth. Pharynx is a common opening for both food and air. Then larynx is also called as a voice box. So larynx is also called as what? Voice box. So the entrance, the food will enter the esophagus. Before the entrance, there will be one part called as epiglottis. Epiglottis is there which will regulate the entry of a food in the esophagus, and it will not allow the food to enter the windpipe, which is trachea. If it enters the trachea, then the food will enter our lungs. Then we can't breathe properly. Suddenly coughing, sneezing will happen. Okay, we can't control that. So to avoid it, So epiglottis is there. When we are talking, epiglottis will be open. So that's the reason our elders will say us, don't talk while having a food. So what will happen if you talk during having the food? So when we are having the food, if that time, if you speak or if you talk, that time epiglottis will be keep on opening. And at the same time, if you are consuming food, the food will enter your lungs, then it may cause some of the serious issues. So kindly don't talk when you are having the food. So after the food will reach the esophagus. Okay, esophagus is also called as a food pipe. What it is called? Esophagus is also called as a food pipe. Esophagus is a tube-like structure. It is made up of muscles, involuntary muscles, which is not in our control. There is a muscles called voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. Voluntary muscles in the sense the muscles which are in our control, and involuntary muscles means the muscles which are not in our control. So esophagus is not in our control. It is a involuntary muscle. So here esophagus will show a movement called as peristaltic movement. Esophagus will show a movement called as peristaltic movement. With the help of that peristaltic movement, the esophagus pushes the food towards the stomach. So once the food is reach the stomach, now let me study about the stomach. See, stomach is a J-shaped structure, or it is a J-shape, or you can call it as a C-shaped structure. Okay, it is a muscular structure and which is in a G shape or a C shape. Now what all things are present inside the stomach? Inside the stomach there is a layer called as mucus layer, or mucous membrane is there, which produce one layer called as mucus layer. Okay, and inside the stomach there is a acid called as hydrochloric acid. Which acid? Hydrochloric acid is there. Now the amazing fact about this hydrochloric acid is, the hydrochloric acid is so strong that if you take it out from your stomach and if you keep it on your, or else if you keep it on something else, like it can have an ability, it is having an ability to burn those things. So you just imagine that much strong acid is present in your stomach and still you are not feeling anything. Why? Which organ or which layer is protecting you from the hydrochloric acid? As I earlier told you, there is a mucous membrane. The mucous membrane will create one layer between the hydrochloric acid and the wall of a stomach. So hydrochloric acid will not touch the wall of a stomach, so we don't feel any kind of a burning sensation. But during the time of vomiting, food will come out. No sir, that time why can't we feel burning sensation? You may ask the question. But saliva is made up of a base. Saliva contains base and hydrochloric acid is an acid. So when we are vomiting, so some amount of acid will come out. It will try to come out from the mouth, but the saliva is not only present in the mouth region, it is also present in the esophagus region also. So it will neutralize the reaction of a hydrochloric acid, and it will neutralize the amount of hydrochloric acid, and it will be like normal. We don't feel that burning sensation. But what is the layer which is preventing the burning sensation of hydrochloric acid? Mucus layer, mucous membrane. Okay. Now inside the stomach, digestion will be done. After the stomach, the food will reach the small intestine. The food will reach the small intestine. Here some of the other organs are there, like liver, which is the largest digestive gland. Liver is also called as a largest digestive gland because liver has one organ, one part called as a gallbladder. Gallbladder will produce bile juice. Bile juice is nothing but a digestive juice which will helps to break down of fats into smaller fat globules of glycerol. Okay, so that will be, liver will be releasing the bile juice inside the small intestine, and there is one more organ called as pancreas. Have you seen this organ, pancreas, before in any images? See, pancreas. So that pancreas is also producing some of the digestive enzymes called as pepsin and leafase. Pepsin, trypsin and leafase enzymes are produced by pancreas. So that also secreting in a smaller intestine only. And smaller intestine also has its own intestinal juice, which is also a digestive juice. So inside the small intestine, now there is a secretion from the liver called as bile juice, and secretion from pancreas called as trypsin, leafase and pepsin, and small intestine has its own intestinal juice. So combining all this digestive juice, it will make sure the whatever food you have had already, so it will be completely broken down into smaller pieces and nutrients will be absorbed. That's the reason the smaller intestine is called as the complete site of digestion. But only the name is small intestine. But do you know how much long the small intestine is? A human digestive system contains a 6 to 7 meter long small intestine. 6 to 7 meter long intestine we are having. Okay? Then, but when it compares to the width of a small intestine and large intestine, small intestine is smaller in width. That's why it is called as small intestine. Then, the complete digestion will take place inside the small intestine, and small intestine is having a villi-like structure, a hair-like structure is called as villus. We can call it as a villus or villi, which are supplied with the rich blood capillaries. Rich blood circulation is there. So with the help of those villi, whatever food we are having, so that after complete digestion, nutrients will be absorbed inside the blood with the help of a villi. This villus, we can also call it as a villus. Through the villus, whatever nutrients are absorbed from the food, that will be enter our blood. So through the blood, those food molecules, nutrients will reach each and every cell of our body. Each and every cell of our body. Our body is made up of more than 3 trillion cells. We are the owner of 3 trillion cells. So that food will reach all 3 trillion cells, and breakdown of food into energy required one more molecule. What is that? We require oxygen. So through the respiratory system, oxygen will also reach the cells. Inside the cell, what will happen? Inside the cell, breakdown of food into energy. Inside the cell, the food molecule will react with the oxygen molecule and they will release a ATP molecule, which is also called as adenosine triphosphate, which is also called as the energy currency of a cell. So ATP is used as a energy currency for a cell. So that ATP we are using to generate energy for each and every whatever movements or whatever work we are doing, we require energy. So that energy is in the form of a ATP. Okay. So after absorption, then the leftover waste particles. The leftover waste particle will enter the large intestine. Okay. So large intestine is also having one work, which will absorb the excessive amount of water from the waste. It will absorb the excessive amount of water from the waste and it will make the waste little bit solid in nature. Okay, solid in nature. So then the end of a large intestine is called as anus. Okay, at the anus there is one muscle called as sphincter muscle. Which muscle? Sphincter muscle is there. That is a voluntary muscle that we can control that muscle. If something happens to that muscle, that may lead to the loose motion. I hope once in your lifetime we may face the loose motion problem. So loose motion problem is there means we are having an issue with our sphincter, anal sphincter muscle. So if that muscle is malfunctioned, if it is not working properly, then we may feel loose motion problem. And when the duodenum is not working, that pyloric sphincter we call, duodenum is called as also pyloric sphincter. There is also one muscle here. So if that muscle is not working properly, then we may feel vomiting. Vomit will happen because of that thing. That will not allow the food to go backward flow. But if it is malfunction, then vomiting will happen. So this is all about the digestive system of a human beings. I hope this video is very important for you. If any doubts, we can clear it in a doubt session. Thank you, one and all.